11 workers were killed. Their bodies were never recovered. The oil spill continued for 87 days. 1 million seabirds died. Largest marine oil spill in the history of the petroleum industry. On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon offshore oil rig was operating in the Gulf of Mexico, approximately 66 kilometers off the coast of Louisiana, in waters about 1,500 meters deep. The rig itself was owned by Transocean, one of the world's largest offshore drilling contractors, and it was leased by BP, the British energy company responsible for the oil well being drilled. The well was known as the Macondo Prospect. It was considered technically difficult but highly valuable. BP estimated that the well could produce tens of thousands of barrels of oil per day once operational. By April 2010, drilling at Macondo was already more than 40 days behind schedule. The delay had cost BP an estimated $500 million over budget. Each additional day of operation on the rig cost roughly $1 million. As a result, there was intense pressure to finish drilling and temporarily seal the well so the rig could move to its next assignment. On the day of the disaster, the crew was performing a procedure known as temporary abandonment. This involved sealing the well with cement and testing whether the barriers could withstand underground pressure. Multiple warning signs appeared during these tests. Pressure readings from the well were abnormal. One test suggested the cement seal had failed. Another test result was misinterpreted as a success. Several engineers on the rig expressed concerns, but the operation continued. At approximately 9:31 p.m. local time, methane gas began rising rapidly from the well. The gas traveled up the drilling pipe, expanding as it rose due to decreasing pressure. At 9:45 p.m., the gas reached the rig. Within seconds, it ignited. 2 massive explosions ripped through the platform. The force of the blast could be felt kilometers away. Fire engulfed the rig almost instantly. Out of 126 workers on board, 115 survived. 11 workers were killed. Their bodies were never recovered. Emergency systems failed to fully activate. The blowout preventer, a massive safety device weighing over 450 tons and designed to seal the well in emergencies, did not function as intended. The rig burned uncontrollably for nearly 36 hours. On April 22, 2010, Deepwater Horizon sank to the ocean floor. That is when the true scale of the disaster became clear. Oil was flowing freely from the broken wellhead nearly 1,500 meters below the surface. Initial estimates severely underestimated the leak. BP's first public estimate suggested 1,000 barrels per day. Independent scientists later calculated the real number was closer to 62,000 barrels per day at its peak. The oil spill continued for 87 days. By the time the well was finally sealed on July 15, 2010, approximately 4.9 million barrels of crude oil had been released into the Gulf of Mexico. This made it the largest marine oil spill in the history of the petroleum industry. The oil spread across more than 180,000 square kilometers of ocean. It contaminated over 2,100 kilometers of coastline across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Fishing was banned across large areas of the Gulf. Tourism collapsed during peak season. Thousands of fishermen, hotel workers, and small business owners lost their income. Environmental damage was extensive. An estimated 1 million seabirds died. Sea turtles, dolphins, and fish populations were severely affected. Entire marsh ecosystems were permanently altered. Some oil sank to the ocean floor, forming underwater plumes that scientists are still studying today. Efforts to stop the leak were repeatedly unsuccessful. BP attempted containment domes, which failed due to methane hydrate crystals forming inside them. Top kill procedures, involving pumping heavy mud into the well, did not work. Multiple remote-controlled vehicles failed to activate the blowout preventer. Public frustration grew as days turned into weeks. Finally, on July 15th, A capping stack successfully sealed the well temporarily. In September 2010, a relief well permanently sealed it with cement. Investigations that followed revealed deep systemic failures. BP was found to have made critical cost-cutting decisions. Cheaper well designs were chosen over safer alternatives. Negative pressure tests were misread. Maintenance issues with the blowout preventer were ignored. Transocean and Halliburton, another contractor involved in cementing the well, were also criticized for safety lapses. In 2015, BP agreed to a record settlement of $20.8 billion with the United States government. This included civil penalties, environmental restoration funds, and compensation for affected communities. In total, BP's costs related to the disaster exceeded $65 billion. Yet, deepwater drilling did not stop. New regulations were introduced, oversight agencies were restructured, safety requirements were tightened, but the economic incentives remained unchanged. The Deepwater Horizon disaster was not caused by a single technical failure. It was caused by a chain of decisions where speed and profit were repeatedly prioritized over caution. Each decision seemed manageable in isolation. Together, they created a catastrophe. The disaster demonstrated how modern industrial systems fail, not suddenly, but gradually, through ignored warnings, normalized risk, and misplaced confidence. The Gulf of Mexico continues to recover. Some damage may never be fully reversed, and the most important lesson remains unresolved. In a world that depends on high-risk systems for energy and profit, the question is not whether accidents can happen. The question is whether we are willing to act before warnings turn into disasters again. Before you go, take a moment to think about this. If so many warning signs were visible before the Deepwater Horizon disaster, and if so many people later agreed that it could have been prevented, then why did it still happen? If this video helped you understand the story more clearly, please like the video so it reaches more people. Share it with someone who believes disasters are just bad luck. I'll see you in the next video.